We are told from a very young age not to judge a book by its cover. We are told that what is inside a person is more important than what they wear. But the world is a busy place, and people often forget this lesson. They see old clothes, and they think poor. They see gray hair, and they think weak. They see a simple life, and they think unimportant. This is a story about a day when a powerful man forgot this lesson, and he learned it again in the hardest way possible. It is a story about dignity. I would like to ask you, how do you treat the elderly people in your life? Do you listen to their stories? Please share your thoughts in the comments. My name is Arthur, and I am 82 years old. My life has been a long adventure. I started with nothing. I worked in factories, I drove trucks, and I saved every penny. Later, I invested in land and buildings. I was lucky, and I was smart. Today, I own many buildings in this city. I have more money than I could ever spend, but I do not live like a rich man. I do not like fancy suits. I do not like expensive cars. My favorite place is my garden. I love to dig in the dirt, to plant tomatoes, and to feed the birds. My hands are rough. My clothes are usually old and comfortable. I am happiest when I am wearing my old sun hat and my muddy boots. One Tuesday morning, I was working in my garden. It was a beautiful sunny day. I was planting new roses. I realized that I needed to go to the bank to sign some important papers for a new charity project I was starting. I did not want to change my clothes. I thought, it is just a quick trip. I am an old man. Who cares what I wear? So I got into my old dusty pickup truck and drove to the city center. I parked in front of the City Central Bank. It was a huge modern building made of glass and steel. It looked very impressive. I walked through the revolving doors. The air inside was cool and smelled of expensive perfume and money. Everyone inside was wearing a suit. The men had shiny shoes. The women had perfect hair. I walked in with my old, stained trousers, my flannel shirt with a hole in the elbow, and my dirty boots. I probably had a little bit of dirt on my face, too. I walked towards the waiting area. I was tired from gardening, so I wanted to sit down before I went to the counter. I saw a comfortable leather sofa. But before I could reach it, a security guard stepped in front of me. He was a big man, and he did not look friendly. "Excuse me," he said, his voice hard. "You cannot be here." I looked at him, surprised. "I am sorry?" I asked. "I am here to do some banking." The guard looked at my dirty boots. He looked at my old hat. He curled his lip in disgust. "This is a bank for customers," he said. "Not a shelter. You need to leave. Now." I tried to explain. "Young man, I am a customer. I have an account here." But he did not believe me. He put his hand on my arm to push me towards the door. Just then, a door opened nearby. A man walked out. He was wearing a very sharp, very expensive blue suit. His hair was slicked back. He looked like he owned the world. He was the bank manager. His name was Mr. Sterling. I knew his name, but he did not know my face. We had never met in person. Mr. Sterling saw the guard talking to me. He saw my old clothes. He saw the dirt on my boots. And he immediately made a decision. He did not see a customer. He saw a problem. He saw a piece of trash that was making his beautiful bank look bad. He walked over to us, walking fast and angry. "What is going on here?" he demanded. The guard pointed at me. "This person is refusing to leave, sir." "He says he is a customer." Mr. Sterling laughed. It was a cruel, short laugh. He looked at me with eyes full of contempt. "A customer?" he said. "Look at him. He can't even afford a bar of soap, let alone a bank account." He turned to the guard, and he said the words that made the whole bank go quiet. He pointed a finger at me and shouted, "Take this old man away! Get him out of my lobby immediately! He is scaring the real clients!" The manager's words echoed in the large marble lobby. "Take this old man away!" People stopped what they were doing. Tellers stopped counting money. Customers in expensive suits turned to watch. I stood there, an old man in dirty boots, being humiliated in the middle of the city. I felt a hot flash of anger, but I pushed it down. I had learned a long time ago that anger makes you weak. Calmness makes you strong. The security guard grabbed my arm again, harder this time. "Come on, old man," he grunted. "Let's go." I didn't move. I planted my feet firmly on the polished floor. I looked directly at Mr. Sterling. I didn't shout. I didn't beg. I just spoke in a quiet, steady voice. "I would like to speak to my account manager, please. Her name is Sarah Jenkins." Mr. Sterling laughed again. "Sarah Jenkins?" he mocked. "Sarah is our senior vice president of private wealth. She manages accounts for millionaires. She doesn't speak to people who sleep under bridges. Now leave before I call the police." "Call them," I said calmly. "I will wait." Mr. Sterling's face turned red. He was not used to being disobeyed. He hated that this dirty old man was not afraid of him. He stepped closer to me, trying to intimidate me with his height and his expensive suit. "You are making a mistake," he hissed. "You don't know who you are dealing with." "No," I said, looking him in the eye. "I think you are the one making a mistake, and I think you don't know who you are dealing with." The tension in the room was thick. The guard looked unsure. He looked from his angry boss to me, the calm old man. Just then, the elevator doors at the back of the lobby opened. A woman walked out. She was dressed in a smart business suit, holding a stack of files. It was Sarah Jenkins. She was walking towards the front door, probably going to lunch. She saw the commotion. She saw the manager, the guard, and the crowd. And then she saw me. She stopped. Her eyes went wide. She dropped her files on the floor, papers scattered everywhere, but she didn't care. She started to run. "Mr. Blackwood!" she called out. "Mr. Blackwood! Oh my goodness!" She ran past the guard. She ran past Mr. Sterling. She came straight to me. She didn't look at my dirty clothes. She didn't look at the mud on my boots. She took my rough, dirty hands in hers and shook them warmly. "It is so good to see you. We weren't expecting you today. Is everything all right?" The silence in the bank was deafening. Mr. Sterling looked like he had been punched in the stomach. "Sarah?" he asked, his voice shaking. You know this man?" Sarah turned to him. Her face was not friendly. "Know him?" she said. "Mr. Sterling, this is Arthur Blackwood. He is our bank's largest depositor. He has been a client here for 40 years. Mr. Sterling's mouth opened and closed like a fish. "Largest depositor?" he whispered. Sarah wasn't finished. She pointed a finger up towards the ceiling, towards the very structure of the bank. "And Mr. Sterling," she added, her voice clear and sharp, "he doesn't just keep his money here, he owns this building. We pay rent to him every single month." The color drained from Mr. Sterling's face. He looked up at the ceiling, as if he could see my name written on the steel beams. Then he looked back at me. He looked at the hole in my shirt. He looked at the dirt on my face. And then he realized he had just tried to throw the landlord out of his own building. He had just insulted the man who could close this branch with a single phone call. I smiled at him. It was a small, polite smile. "Hello, Mr. Sterling," I said. "I believe you wanted me to leave. Should I take my building with me?" Driving my old truck back to my house, I felt a sense of peace. The anger was gone. I was back on the quiet roads, heading towards my flowers and my trees. I parked the truck and went straight to my garden. I put my hands in the warm, dark earth. This was real. This was honest. The money in the bank was just numbers on a computer screen. But a rose blooming in the sun, that was a miracle. Later that afternoon, I sat on my porch with a cup of tea. I took out my phone. I dialed the number of David, the CEO of the bank. He answered on the second ring. "Arthur," he said, his voice happy. "To what do I owe the pleasure? Are you coming to play poker this week?" "Hello, David," I said. "I am calling about business today. I had an interesting morning at your City Central branch." I told him the whole story. I told him about the guard. I told him about Mr. Sterling. I told him exactly what Mr. Sterling said. "Take this old man away." I told him how I was judged for my dirty boots and my old hat. David listened. He did not interrupt. When I finished, there was a long silence on the phone. "Arthur," David said finally, his voice very serious, "I am ashamed. That is not how we do business. That is not how we treat people. I don't care if you have $1 billion or $10. Every person deserves dignity." "I agree," I said. "Mr. Sterling is a man who loves money, but he does not understand people, and a bank is a business of people." "Leave it to me," David said. "I will fix it." I did not go back to the bank for a week. I stayed in my garden. I enjoyed the simple life. But the next Tuesday, I needed to finish signing those papers. I decided to run a small test. I put on my old gardening clothes again. I put on my muddy boots, and I drove back to the city. I walked through the revolving doors of the bank. The air was still cool. The smell of expensive perfume was still there. But the feeling was different. The security guard saw me. It was the same guard. He looked at me, and he stood up straight. He did not block my path. He smiled. It was a nervous smile, but it was polite. "Good morning, Mr. Blackwood," he said. "Welcome back." "Good morning," I said, tipping my old hat. I walked into the lobby. I looked towards the manager's office. Mr. Sterling was not there. His nameplate was gone from the door. Instead, Sarah Jenkins was standing there. She saw me and walked over immediately. She was smiling, a real, warm smile. "Hello, Arthur," she said. "I am so glad you came back." "Where is Mr. Sterling?" I asked. "Mr. Sterling has decided to pursue other opportunities," she said diplomatically. "The CEO came here personally last week. I am the acting manager of this branch now." I smiled. "That is a very good choice," I said. "You see people, Sarah. You don't just see numbers." She led me to her office. We sat down and we signed the papers for my charity project. It was a project to build a community garden in the poorest part of the city, a place where everyone, no matter how old or how poor, could put their hands in the dirt and grow something beautiful. As I was leaving the bank, I saw an old woman sitting in the waiting area. She looked tired. Her clothes were worn and simple. She looked a little bit scared, holding her small purse tight against her chest. She looked like she felt she didn't belong there. I stopped. I watched. A young bank teller walked over to her. He did not tell her to leave. He did not call security. He smiled at her. "Can I help you, ma'am?" he asked gently. "Would you like a cup of water while you wait?" The old woman smiled back, her fear melting away. "Yes, please," she said. "Thank you." I watched this small moment of kindness, and my heart felt full. The bank had changed. The culture had changed. The lesson had been learned. I walked out to my old truck. I am an old man now. I have lived a long life. I have been poor and I have been rich. And I have learned that the only difference between a rich man and a poor man is the size of his bank account. It does not tell you the size of his heart. It does not tell you the quality of his soul. Mr. Sterling judged me by my cover. He thought he could throw me away like trash. But he forgot that even the oldest, dirtiest book can have a powerful story inside. He lost his job because he was arrogant. But I hope, wherever he is, he learned something. I hope he learned that you should treat the janitor with the same respect as the CEO. Because you never know. The janitor might own the building. If this story about dignity and respect resonated with you, please give this video a like. How do you think we can create a world where everyone is treated with respect? Share your thoughts in the comments below. For more inspiring English stories about life's important lessons, please be sure to follow our channel.